Hours before friends started out at a Picre station, the 14XX Eliza was shunting at the freight platform. Lady Anne, the only Victorian locomotive on the Taleland Railway, was waiting at platform 2 with coaches heading to Jasper. Lucinda, a large black mixed goods engine, was waiting at platform 1 with C1 coaches facing the opposite direction, heading to Nix Harbor. "Frigid today, isn't it?" asked George, Lady Anne's driver. "Indeed. I heard that snow is causing problems for the cavalry line. Something about how the lines haven't been cleared to get out," replied the guard, Stan. "They'd better clear it and fast. Both the hopper here and the one at Jasper are running frighteningly low." "You better warn the controller about that so he can send a plow on that line," Stan advised. "Good thinking, I'll do that," George said, feeling reassured. Stan walked back to the last coach, closing doors on the way. When he got to the last one, he blew his whistle and waved his green flag. Lady Anne's whistle blew and the train puffed off towards Jasper Station. At Jasper Tunnel, Lady Anne rushed through into a snowdrift. She suddenly stopped. Lady Anne was stuck in the snow. "Well, if that doesn't take the biscuit," muttered George. "What's happened?" Stan shouted from the last coach. "She's stuck in the snow. Quite a drift through here. Indeed, there's no way to clear it. Shovels aren't good enough for this tough snow. We can try melting it," George sighed. "If that's our only hope, then so be it." George and Stan began to shovel hot coal out of the firebox and into the snow. "We need more hot coal, fireman. Stoke the fire," George said, but the fireman was hesitant. "We're almost out of coal. If we use it to clear the line, we won't have any to produce steam." Stan was insistent. "It must be done. That way someone can come along and rescue us." "If you say so," the fireman said worriedly. Meanwhile, at Jasper Station, Iris, the big Ivet tender engine, was waiting at track 2 with the goods. On the other line, the Jasper Hall, whose real name was Asler, was waiting with the fabulous Scarlet Dawn passenger train. "Afternoon, driver," the guard said. "Good afternoon," replied the driver as he examined his locomotive. "How's it been?" "Not good. I've been running low on coal all day," said the driver glumly. "Why don't I fill up now?" I would, but the workmen don't let me. They say the coal's reserved for the Jasper Hall." "That's not fair to us," the guard shouted angrily. "No, but they don't listen to my reasoning," sighed the driver. "Maybe that's someone at Picre," suggested the guard. "Hopefully. Let's get there before we run out." So the guard went to the brake van and the driver climbed into the cab of Iris. The guard blew his whistle. The driver blew Iris' whistle and they left the station. "Driver, what's that ahead?" asked Iris' fireman as they approached the tunnel. "Oh, it's another engine, a passenger engine too," exclaimed Iris' driver. Stan, who was the guard for Lady Anne's passenger train, was frantically waving his red flag. Iris slowed to a stop just next to Lady Anne. "What's wrong, guard?" asked Iris' driver. "Our train's jammed itself in a snowdrift," Stan shouted. "How do you figure that? It's barely an inch." "Because I called him out at all, that's why we can't move. We're out of coal," the fireman explained. "So are we," said Iris' fireman. "Bloody heck," muttered Stan. "Is there any at a Picre?" asked Iris' driver. "Nope," replied George, Lady Anne's driver. "What are we to do?" said Iris' guard. "Can you please pull us to Jasper?" Stan asked. "No problem, let's find a switch," replied Iris' driver. Quickly, Iris reversed away. When Iris returned, there was no longer any freight cars, only a brake van, and Iris was on the other line. "Took you a sure long while," grumbled Stan. "Had to find a place to leave our cars," Iris' guard replied. "Driver," mumbled the fireman. "What?" asked the driver. "Can't you see we're rescuing this train? We have a problem." "Out with the fireman, we haven't gone all day." "We're officially out of coal." "You what?" yelled Stan. "This is impossible," George said. Just then, snow began to pour down. "Never mind, just hop on our coaches before we all freeze," Stan said. So everyone climbed into the warm coaches. At Oceanix Harbor, Johnson's driver climbed out. "All right, Tom, it's ready," he said. "Thank you," replied Tom, the driver of Hecate. Tom reversed Hecate into the mail coaches that Johnson had shunted. Suddenly, the controller walked up to Hecate. "Have any of you two seen Iris or Lady Anne? They were meant to be here hours ago," said the controller worriedly. Both drivers shook their heads. Well, it seems they are missing. We must find them immediately," the controller declared. Just then, Champion's driver walked up. "I will, sir. Champion is good with a snowplow." "And I will handle the shunting," added Johnson's driver. "Very well, then. I will be accompanying you on your search," the controller said. "Excuse me, sir," interrupted Hecate's driver. "Yes?" asked the controller. "There isn't any more coal in the hopper, and I haven't enough to get to Jasper," responded Hecate's driver, concerned. "I sent for Reggie to collect some coal that friend is bringing from the mountains," the controller told him. "Well, he'd better hurry," said Hecate's driver. "The mail train leaves in 10 minutes. "Then we will have to change your departure time," said the controller annoyedly. Excuse me, sir, but we best hurry before sundown, Champion's driver said as he looked out across the sea at the sky. Right you are. I'm sorry. The coal should be here soon. Wait 30 more minutes. With that, the controller climbed into the snowplow car and sat down. Champion left with the snowplow car in front. At the tunnel, things were not getting better. Can't we just use the wood from the trees? Asked a passenger. We tried, replied Stan. It's too wet from the snow. Suddenly, the faint whistle of Champion echoed around the valley. That sounds like another engine, shouted Iris's fireman. Stan went to the window to look out. It is, he exclaimed. Champion came up alongside the two snowed-in locomotives. There you all are, said the controller, relieved. We've been stuck here with no coal for hours, said Lady Ann's driver. We must fetch more for you, said the controller. We are almost out of coal, too, noted Champion's fireman. What's wrong with the coal hoppers? Asked the controller. They're all empty, the fireman replied. No new shipments have arrived, the controller asked. Nope, they all replied. Presently, at Ocean X, Reggie steamed in. Finally, muttered Hecate's driver. About time, said Johnson's fireman. Sorry, lads, friend's gear's jammed up in the snow, French driver replied. Champion hasn't come back yet, said Hecate's fireman. Do you think we should go out to look? Asked Johnson's driver. No, said Hecate's driver. We shouldn't risk any more people or engines going missing. I'll take the mail train with some of the coal, and if I find them, then they'll be able to come back here. Alright, said Reggie's driver. Hecate departed and headed towards Jasper. Once Hecate arrived at Jasper Tunnel, he pulled up behind Champion. Is this where the party's been? Joked Hecate's driver. Very funny, said Stan. We brought extra coal, said Hecate's fireman. Wonderful, shouted Lady Ann's driver. Thank the Lord, exclaimed Iris's fireman. Iris and Lady Ann were refilled with coal. Oi, mate, what about us? Asked Champion's driver. One of us can just push you. The trucks are empty, said Hecate's driver. All right, fine, said Champion's fireman angrily. With all that over, Iris, Hecate, Champion, and Lady Ann headed back to Ocean X. At Ocean X Station, all I see smoke, said Johnson's driver. All I hear whistles, said Reggie's fireman. All four engines with their trains arrived, blowing their whistles as loud as they could. The controller, who was riding in the snowplow, shouted excitedly, We found them! Suddenly, at the same time, Lucinda arrived with her C1 coaches. Passengers poured out onto the platform. The controller climbed up onto a signal. Finally, now our holiday celebration can begin with all of our engines here. And thus our story reaches our happy conclusion. And to everyone at home, have a happy holidays and a happy new year from us at the Taleland Railway.